Oh man, so Karmelo Anthony and the Anthony family just received some good news as his bond has been reduced, and also they have agreed to allow him to be on house arrest, okay? Now this is his lawyer speaking. We're gonna tap in with him and see what he has to say about the situation.
Is a protection that applies to each and every one of us. Self-defense is a protection that applies to each and every one of us. There are two sides to every story, and Karmelo is a 17-year-old kid and an excellent student. He is the captain of his track team. He is the captain of his football team. And prior to this, what was on his mind was what college he was going to go to. This is a tragedy all the way around for both families. Rushing to judgment, trial by public perception and trial by media is not how we ensure justice is done. We are confident that after a full investigation, that the truth will come out. Thank you.
Mike, you took umbrage with the state's assessment that this was simple and brutal. Why so?
Well, the fact of the matter is, like I said, there's two sides to every story, and we've only heard one side. In any criminal case, the police investigate, and the defense is always far behind that. And so it is a one-sided investigation to this point, and even that investigation is still ongoing. So to say that it happened this way or that way is just not accurate at this point. All of the facts are going to come out, and that's why our system of justice requires that we keep our minds open and we let the facts come out as they are after a full investigation.
Is your client going to be able to make bond and get out today?
I anticipate that he will be able to make bond. I can't speak to how quickly that will go. Funds, in the funds that have been raised are not quick to come out. And then, there's obviously a process to the release process once bond is posted.
The big question that a lot of people have is, why was this young man armed on school property?
That's an understandable question, but it's not something that, frankly, we're prepared to even go into. This is something that I know the police and the prosecution want to get it right and want to have a full and fair investigation, and so do we. So it would be irresponsible for me or them at this point to start saying, this is what happened, this is why, anything. So I understand that's a big question. It's going to be a big question, and it's something that we will find out, and we ask that the public, as hard as it is, withhold judgment and let both of these families have justice, that let both of these young men, the Metcalf family and the memory of who they've lost, but also Karmelo, have a fair and full justice process.
How has he?
Your feeling on the reduction of this bond? You feel it's fair?
I feel it's fair. Bond, as the judge said, is not supposed to be an instrument of oppression. It's not supposed to keep people in jail. It's not supposed to punish. It's supposed to ensure that a person shows up to court, complies with all conditions, and it's supposed to keep the community safe. So this is a large and substantial bond, and the judge has, I think, rightly imposed reasonable conditions that will ensure both Karmelo and the Anthony family's safety, but also the safety of the community.
What was Karmelo's reaction today? He didn't seem very talkative toward you, and how has jail, I guess, been so far for this teenager, and is he on suicide watch or anything like that?
I honestly can't speak to Karmelo's reaction because I was so focused on the hearing and what was going on and what the judge was saying. I think we have to all remember Karmelo is a 17-year-old kid who's never been in any sort of trouble before. If you can just put yourself in his shoes, this is a scary, bewildering process, and I can't even imagine what was going through his head, just as I'm sure I can't imagine what was going through the heads of the Metcalf family. So this is something that is new to all of them and incredibly trying.
So for people who want to know, why were you selected? I mean, what is your experience? I mean, you had to be really good.
I can't speak as to why I was selected. In any case, it's important to have an attorney that you connect with, that you feel has the right amount of experience and the right investment in the case. And I'm not speaking to anybody else. I just know that that's important in any case.
Okay. Just how unsafe does this family feel? You mentioned it multiple times.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to speak for them at this point, but I think you can imagine the press coverage on this case has been immense, and the online and public reaction has been immense. And unfortunately, as is common in our culture, especially lately, the vitriol and the public reaction one way or the other has been intense. And threats and talk of race war and all kinds of insanity isn't good for, obviously, the Anthony family. It's not good for the Metcalf family. It's not good for the peace and safety of our community. So, I would ask, and I know both sides would ask, that the temperature on this be allowed to come down, that the media, you guys have a job to do, and I understand that, everyone does, but at the same time, we just ask everyone in the public and everywhere to let this process play out fairly and fully for both sides. Okay, thank you guys.
So let things play out fairly and fully, all right? So that was Mike Howard, the attorney speaking for Karmelo Anthony and his family. So to go over the details once again, Judge Angela Tucker ruled Monday morning to lower the bail for Karmelo Anthony, 17 years old, from $1 million to $250,000 with conditions that include being under house arrest and wearing an ankle monitor. So Anthony has been in custody on a murder charge since April 2nd, when he was arrested and accused of killing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at District 11-5A track meet at Frisco's David Cacundo Stadium. Sorry if I said that wrong, but Anthony told police he was acting in self-defense. So it says factors considered in court Monday included Anthony's age, lack of criminal history, and ties to the community. Those included several family members, close friends, a football coach, and a manager from one of Anthony's part-time jobs who showed up to the hearing. On the Metcalf side of the courtroom, which was also full, Megan Metcalf, Austin's mother, bowed her head and cried as the decision came down. Now this is the judge right here, Miss Angela Tucker, and you can only imagine the replies. Matter of fact, let's just show you, alright? Can anybody guess why? Blacks always stick together. I bet she hates Whitey. Now, if you know anything about black folks, hey, I appreciate the kind words, but blacks always stick together. I wish. As a general rule, black woman judge equals race activist. Every race can have activist judges except whites. If you're upset about this now, just wait until the trial by jury. Of course she did. What do you expect from a black broad? DEI hire. Never trust a black judge to give a fair sentence to a black criminal, especially if it's a woman. It's crazy because if you listen to a lot of black men, they will tell you you should be scared of a black woman judge. Like, it's crazy the different narratives that are spun for whatever the occasion may be. Niggas have no respect for the law. Why are they allowed to become judges? Of course, a rigor judge looking out for their own. Karmelo should never see the light of day again. Damn, if it's a judge in the case, they might as well let him off. You're about to see blatant corruption from the world's greatest judicial system. Man, have mercy on Miss Tucker. Miss Tucker. Good luck, all right? And here goes a news report summarizing the situation right here.
Within the last hour, a judge granted the request to lower the bond for a North Texas teen facing capital murder charges. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony is...
That's not true. You see how even the news can be wrong? Even this reputable ABC News says that he's facing capital murder charges. We just seen that that's not true. In the previous video, we heard the DA said that he's facing simple first-degree murder charges, not capital murder. Totally different, but you see how the news alone could be wrong. You can't trust any source nowadays, dog. Once again, running back.
Within the last hour, a judge granted the request to lower the bond for a North Texas teen facing capital murder charges. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony is accused of stabbing and killing another student at a track meet in Frisco. Anthony claims he acted in self-defense. Chris Sadeghi live from the courthouse in McKinney. And Chris, the judge heard from Anthony's family this morning before making her decision.
Yeah, Kara, this hearing just wrapped up about 30 minutes ago. In it, we heard from Karmelo Anthony's father. He testified about his son, and in the end, the judge did decide to lower the bond from $1 million to $250,000. Karmelo Anthony entered the courtroom handcuffed, wearing a yellow inmate jumpsuit. He spoke only to identify himself to the judge and stared straight forward while his father, Andrew Anthony, testified about how his son is the oldest of 4 siblings, a straight-A student, active in his church, and worked 2 jobs while serving as captain of the football and track team. To this point, he's not had any criminal history. All factors his defense brought up when asking the judge to lower the bond. The amount they were asking for was $150,000. The prosecution, though, argued the bond should have stayed at $1 million, even asking Andrew Anthony about the online fundraiser that's raised $412,000 for his son's defense. Ultimately, though, the judge said the purpose of bond is not a punishment, but to ensure the defendant returns for his court dates and to protect the community. If Anthony does post the $250,000 bond, he will be on house arrest, confined to his home with a leg monitor, and cannot leave unless the court grants permission. Asked by Judge Angela Tucker if he understood the terms of the bond, Karmelo Anthony simply said yes. Austin Metcalf's family, the victim's family, was in the courtroom. It was a packed courtroom, not a seat to be had, and the judge did acknowledge the amount of scrutiny on this case, not only from the media, but the general public, pointing out that she's presided over many murder trials involving many different races, and that she has never seen the amount of security precautions having to be taken by deputies as what they're seeing in this case. Kara, back to you.
Wow. Hey man, things get crazy, huh? So this is the district attorney, Greg Willis. Let's see what he got to say.
Good morning, everybody. There's not much I can say, but the judge.
Mic on you, sorry.
All right.
Can you come this
All right.
way?
Sure.
Okay, that's fine, right there.
All right. There's not much I can say. The judge has made the call, and so what's important is what's next. Frisco PD will be finishing up their investigation. They will submit the case to my office. We will review it and ultimately present it to a grand jury. And so that's what's next. That's really it's pretty much all I can say right now. We do our speaking in as far as the facts go in the courtroom. Many of you were in there, so you understand what was said. But this is a terrible tragedy for our entire, not just Frisco, but Collin County community. One family has suffered a permanent loss. It's the most unnatural thing for a parent to lose their child. It's permanent, it's profound, it's certainly premature, and it's the hardest thing that I think a human being can go through is to lose their child. The Anthony family has had a different kind of loss, but a loss nonetheless. But the judge has made her call, and we look forward to continuing the process and looking forward to reviewing all the facts of the case that Frisco PD is coming up with and present it to a grand jury. What we are concerned about as prosecutors is justice, truth, and accountability. And so we will go where the facts lead us. Thank you so much.
Could you speak about the security and the vitriol and just the safety even for the judge and your officer?
Well, this has definitely rocked our entire community. And so it has struck a nerve in the community, and it's hard for everybody to be level-headed at a time like this. So that's where we come in. It's our job to be level-headed, to be fact-based, and to follow the truth wherever it leads. Thank you so much.
And what is your title? For those who don't know. Thank you.
That dude trying his best to be as fair as possible. I'll give it to him. You know, he's trying his best to be fair. Even in the other situation, he was as cut and dry as possible. But you know how these things go. When it's time for court and shit, that's when people turn up. That's when they turn up. So, hey, man, that's what Greg Willis has to say. As of now, I'm just keeping my word as to keeping you guys updated with what's going on with the Karmelo Anthony case. All I'm asking for is a fair process for the young man. I know it's going to be tough. as far as that road that's ahead, but at least he has a fair process in the meantime. So, hey, I know he's gonna be home and watching all these YouTube videos, people talking about him because it's overwhelming, or maybe he just wanna avoid everything. But if he does happen to be watching, brother, I understand the situation that you was put in. I know you probably having second thoughts about your actions. It is what it is now. Just pray, just keep your head down and let the process play out. You have a lot of support from the community. Try your best not to beat yourself up too bad and take whatever you can as an opportunity to continue to improve yourself as a young man, you feel me? Tough situation, it is what it is though. But y'all let me know what you gotta say in the comment section below. I'm going to get up out of here though. This is another update with Stace. Yo.